Hello, everyone. I'm Julian Jaquez, and I'm here with Zach Nichols from the Real World San Diego.
What's up?
So, Zach, where are you originally from?
I am originally from Brighton, Michigan, which is 15 minutes north of Ann Arbor and a half hour west of Detroit.
What made you want to be on the Real World?
Honestly, it kind of was a buddy Trent of mine. My buddy Trent just told me pretty much, you got to do this, you should audition. So one night we sent an email, and one email turned into a casting call, turned into a couple interviews, and next thing I know, I'm on a plane out to San Diego.
What were you doing before you were casted for the Real World?
Before I was casted for the Real World, I was working a physical therapy clinic called Michigan Rehabilitation Specialist. I helped out in the physical therapy section. I was a personal trainer and performance coach, and I was also playing professional football indoors.
What was your position?
I played receiver for the Saginaw Sting. I played on a bunch of teams, ended up sticking with the Sting for an entire season. I played receiver, and we won the league championship 3 days before I flew out to San Diego.
When you were at the airport waiting for Sam, what were you expecting to see? Were you expecting a guy, a girl? Because obviously Sam is a unisex name,
Yeah, like you said, Sam, the name Sam goes both ways. I really had, I didn't know what I was waiting for while I was standing there. I didn't put anything in my head because I had no idea, because they didn't tell me whether I was waiting for a guy or a girl. They just said, "Your roommate, Sam." So I had no idea.
When Sam came out to you, what were you thinking?
When Sam came around the corner, the first thing I thought was, this person's very short. Like I said in the episode, I still wasn't sure at first whether Sam was a guy or a girl, but I found out in the cab ride. So
why did you want to adopt a pig? Why not a dog or a cat as a house pet?
In all honesty, we were having a house meeting, and I'm not going to take any credit for the pig because everyone was like, "What do you think we should do?" And I said, "I think we should get a house pet." Nate said it should be a pig, and I said, "Of course it should, and its name should be Beans." So actually, it wasn't my idea to get a pig. It was Nate's idea, but I was kind of in charge of the whole search process. But yeah, like I said, Nate just wanted a pig, and I agreed. And I mean, it's kind of different, a dog. Everyone has dogs and cats. How many people are honestly walking around with a teacup pig?
Sam and Frank asked you if you want to go to the gay bar. What exactly were you thinking when they asked you?
Honestly, I was thinking, no, thank you. I would not like to go to the gay bar. Not just because, that's not my sexual orientation, and I really didn't have any interest in going.
So Frank says he's going to have sex tonight. In quote, those are his exact words that he said. When he said that, did you think he was saying that he was going to hook up with a girl, or did you think it was a guy?
I didn't know going into almost the first couple of days that Frank was bisexual. He had not told me that. I think he actually just talked about girls at that point. He never told me his sexual orientation. So, but at that point, Nate had already told me, and I honestly, I didn't know. I didn't really put much thought into that. He said it. I kind of laughed it off because, Frank is, despite our differences and how much, we really don't care for each other, he always is saying, inappropriate but funny things, and I just kind of took it as that, he's just saying it to crack a joke.
All right, so do you regret saying some of the things you said?
I think, you go back in any place and time and you do things differently, but, no, I don't really regret anything because I told it like it was, and, I stayed true to myself, and at this point, I don't think I've said anything wrong. I'm okay with, everything I've said. I don't regret a thing.
So you guys are coming back from the club, and Frank opens the door and he says, "I'm having sex." What was going through your mind when he said that?
Honestly, all I was going through my mind was I could have gone without that visual, but I know if you watch the episode, I walked straight, up to the roof just because I'm gonna, give him his privacy, and I had no idea what was going on, so I just didn't. I could have gone without that visual. So.
Were you willing to room with Nate instead of Sam when it was suggested?
Yeah, I think it would have been all right to room with Nate. I had no problems. I didn't really know if I wanted to room with Sam at first, but Sam ended up being an awesome roommate. I'm sure Nate and I would have gotten along just as well. So.
Did you or do you feel like Frank needed to apologize?
I do think Frank needed to apologize for, not for what he did, he can do whatever he wants, he can be with whoever he wants, but just, for doing it in the hot tub and the shower and leaving, a condom on the shower floor. I think he should have apologized for that, and he did. He did come up to all of us the next day. I don't know whether anyone saw that or not, or it was aired, but he did apologize.
That leads me into my next question. Sam discovers the condom in the shower. How disturbed were you?
I don't know if disturb's the right word to use. I mean, disturb's kind of like, you see something dead. But, I mean, I was grossed out. I think that's disgusting. I don't think anyone should have to deal with that or see that or even be around that. If that's what he was willing to do, I think he should have cleaned up after himself right then and there instead of leaving it for someone else to find. Because, if that would have been me walking into that shower, I would have been a little bit more upset than just hearing about it.
Did you think Nate overreacted about the whole situation?
I'm in no place to tell anyone how to react to anything. So I think, whatever Nate was feeling, and, this is Nate's life. This is all our lives, just so that, we're getting filmed. And, maybe, you'd have to ask Nate that because I don't want to be the one to tell anyone that they overreacted.
So never in the real world history were they ever allowed to use cell phones or at least carry one. What was that about? Were you guys allowed to carry at least one cell phone on each person when you guys would go out, or how would that work?
Cell phones were meant to be used for when we left the house, so we could call our roommates for rides, or call production to let them know where we were and what we were doing and where we were going. So it was pretty much just a glorified beeper. It really didn't do much. It only called our roommates and production. So those phones, although we had them, they really didn't do much. It was just a glorified beeper or tracking device.
Where were you when Frank was breaking the stuff in the office?
I was on the roof with Ashley.
Were you mad that he broke the things in the office?
It's not my possession, the stuff in the office, but I think if anything I was mad because he put other people's, well-being in danger. There was a young lady down there that Nate had brought home, and, that porcelain was going everywhere. So, yeah, I guess I was upset at the way he did that because he put other people in danger.
Who cleaned up the mess?
I actually cleaned up the mess.
You cleaned up the mess?
Yep.
And why is that?
Partly because I was pretty pissed off. I was angry that he had done that, and I just had to do something, or else I think I would have, I would have lost it. But the other reason is there's broken glass everywhere, and it actually was, out by the pool deck, and it was everywhere. So I just didn't want anyone stepping on it, cutting their foot, and plus, it just, no one needed to see that and be reminded of what happened.
At the time, did you want Frank to stay or go?
At that point, I think maybe we had been there for 4 or 5 days tops, maybe a little bit, maybe a week. At that, I didn't really, I was indifferent. If he wanted to stay, good for him. That's his decision. But if he wanted to go, it wouldn't have affected me, at all.
Frank leaves the house because he doesn't know if he wants to stay or not. And obviously, he after Sam, Priscilla, and Alexandra talk to him, he comes back. Were you expecting him to come back?
I think of everyone, I had the least contact with him when he was out of the house, and I probably asked, I didn't ask very many questions, so I really wasn't expecting. I don't really expect much in situations. When you've only been in a place for a week, you don't know these people that well. You're not even accustomed to the situation. You have no idea what's going on. So I thought he was going to come back. I figured he would, but I didn't know, and I wasn't, it wasn't at the top of my priority list at that point.
During the after show, Frank calls you dumb. That obviously ticked you off. Why exactly did that make you upset?
My whole problem with being called dumb in that situation was he was out there, and I was backstage. I couldn't defend myself, and he called me dumb. And I think when I went out there, I think I made a very, valid argument against that, and I don't think I'm dumb. If you want to say, like I said, if you want to say I was a jerk or, I'm an asshole or I'm mean, that's fine. I'll take that. But I'm not lacking any intelligence. So I thought that was, and the best part about it was when I called him out about it, he immediately went to said he was joking, which to me just means come on. If you're going to say something like that, at least, stand by it.
Did you feel like Alexandra defended Frank too much?
Alexandra, whatever, I don't care. She can do whatever she wants to do. It doesn't affect me whether she defends Frank or not. And I think, if she's gonna, at least she stood up for something there. She stood up for Frank. Well, great, because it was very tough to actually get an opinion out of her. The whole season. But they're friends, and I expect that. I expect a friend of someone to stand up for their friend. So no, she didn't stand up for him too much.
Would you be interested in doing a challenge?
Yeah, I'd go on a challenge. Absolutely.
All right, so we have a caller from South Jersey.
Hello?
Hey,
Hi.
what's going on?
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Oh, my God, Zach, I'm your biggest fan.
Well, thank you.
I only watch The Real World just to see you.
Oh, I don't believe that at all. I'm sure you enjoy other aspects of the show.
Well, yeah, the drama and everything, but me and all my friends were, in love with you.
Well, I'm flattered.
But, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Bye.
Bye.
So how does that make you feel to know that you have fans?
I think, for any, small town kid, you grew up in a smaller town, just to know that, people look up to you and are, watching you, and I think that's flattering. So I'm 100% flattered, and, I'm not used to it, but I guess that's why it's so flattering, is because, you just kind of grew up doing your own thing, and you keep to yourself a lot of the time, and then you go and you get an opportunity like this, and now you get to be, put on blast in front of, millions of viewers. So it's very flattering. It's a very humbling experience.
What were your first impressions towards your roommate?
Honestly, looking back on it, Sam, she was very, she was very extroverted. She was very, in your face, get to know you, what's going on, and so Sam at first, I'm more quieter, so she was just very, she was a lot to handle at first, but Sam had a great heart, and you could tell that from the very beginning. Priscilla, you just see her, she's a California girl, her and I took a little bit longer to know each other, so my first, initial thing was, she's young, California girl, kind of almost like a little sister. Look at Ashley, of course, the first impression of Ashley, she's, gorgeous, she's a beautiful girl. And then upon talking to her for, 10 minutes, you realize that she actually has head on her shoulders. Frank, really, he's very extroverted as well. But, at first Frank was, he was goofy, he was funny, a little inappropriate, but, who isn't? So, Frank, at first, he seemed carefree. And Nate is just, my first impression of Nate was just he's this really hyper guy with, ball of energy. And then Alex, I really didn't know, what to think about Alex at first, because she was the quietest, and she really didn't have very many opinions or anything. So I really didn't know about Alex, and I just thought she was quiet, and I guess from Africa, and so I knew she had, I guess I could say cultured because she'd been around.
Alexandra's actually really intelligent, correct?
Oh, Alexandra is, she's very intelligent. I think she was in college when she was 13. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you see in, in movies.
All right, Zach, so that's all I have.